Hey there, it's Terry Sawchuk from Sawchuk Wealth. It's Thursday, so that means it's time for 3 Minute Thursdays. This might be a short one today. The reason being, I sent out an email earlier this week just summarizing some of the thoughts that we have around the markets. There's no question that things are moving a little bit more quickly now. We've seen a bit of a deterioration in the equity markets, and the big question right now is this going to turn into a crash? Is it going to turn into a correction, or is this the end of it? I don't think we're going to see a crash. There's just a lot in terms of economic support that I think will be thrown at the markets to prevent a crash. So we'll certainly keep our eye out, but I don't see that necessarily as being a high probability. One thing that is happening is we're heading into earnings season again, and what I would say is that earnings are going to have to be really, really, really good in order for the market to push a whole lot higher, because the market's pretty much got earnings priced to perfection. And so we're starting to see some deterioration in the labor market. Tesla just announced they're going to drop something like 20% of their workforce, or 20,000, maybe 15, 20,000 employees, if not more. And there are other companies that are doing the same thing. So we're seeing, these big companies cut headcount, and yet what's interesting is that unemployment doesn't really seem to be moving. And that's because I think there's a lot of, government created jobs, and also a lot of trading of what I guess you would call higher paying, full-time jobs are getting swapped out for lower paying part-time jobs. And so those numbers are a little bit misleading in terms of what's happening. And I also think that the influx of people coming over the southern border is skewing the unemployment numbers a little bit. They're coming in and getting lower paying jobs, but they're counting those jobs in the numbers. And so again, we're seeing a deterioration in quality, even though the actual absolute number hasn't changed a whole lot. So that's something that we're watching. The Japanese yen, since even I wrote the email, has been falling quite a bit, and the dollar has been strengthening. And on a short-term basis, I think that that's digestible. But if this trend continues, then it could create a big problem, and it won't take very long if that's the case. So, while I don't think there's anything imminent, I think the market is running out of momentum, and we'll see if it's just a garden variety correction and we resume the long term, or if in fact this is the peak. But the market in general seems to be running out of gas here, and I think that's the main thing. I did send an email out that details a lot of this stuff, so I'd encourage you to go check that out. I even have a short version and a long version for those of you that don't like to read too much. So that's going to wrap up this week's edition of 3 Minute Thursday. I will see you next week.